Before you check your phone this morning, before your feet find the floor, there's a version of you that already knows how to begin the day correctly. Not with a task list, not with news, with a sentence said before the eyes are even fully open, in a tradition older than the alarm clock itself. It is one line, and it does something almost no morning habit taught in a productivity book manages to do. It puts you in debt to the day before the day has asked anything of you. In the Jewish tradition, the very first words spoken on waking are not a plan. They are gratitude. Before rising from bed, before a single obligation is acknowledged, the practitioner says a short line thanking the fact of consciousness itself for having returned. It is not thanks for a good night's sleep or thanks for what today might bring. It is thanks for the plain fact of waking up at all, offered before anything has been earned or proven. Sit with the order of operations there, because it is the entire discipline. Most mornings run the opposite sequence. First the scroll, then the inbox, then the mental tally of what is owed and what is behind, and only much later, if ever, a stray thought of gratitude squeezed in around lunch. The waking prayer refuses that order. It insists that thanks comes first, structurally first, before the mind is given anything else to attach itself to. You do not wait to see if the day deserves gratitude. You extend it on credit every single morning on principle. There's a modern, secular argument that lands in almost the same place, from a very different direction. Sleep researchers studying circadian rhythm have found that the single most powerful lever for a stable, well-regulated body clock is not bedtime. It is wake time, the same hour every day without exception, because that is the anchor the rest of the 24-hour cycle is built around. The body does not care what time you fell asleep nearly as much as it cares whether you show up for the same moment of waking day after day. Consistency at the threshold is what makes everything downstream, mood, alertness, appetite, behave the way it should. Put the ancient practice and the modern science side by side, and they're describing the same discipline from two directions. One says, treat the exact moment of waking as sacred enough to deserve a ritual before anything else touches it. The other says, treat the exact moment of waking as the anchor the entire system depends on, consistent above all else. Neither one is really about the rest of your day. Both are about that first 30 seconds, and both insist that what you do there is disproportionately important compared to how brief it is. This matters most for people who have trained themselves to treat the first minute of the day as dead time, something to survive on the way to the version of the morning that actually counts, the one with coffee and a plan and a full inbox. But the first minute is not a runway before life begins. It is the only moment all day when nothing has gone wrong yet, nothing has been asked of you, and nothing has disappointed you. Spend it on gratitude and consistency instead of on your phone, and you are not delaying the real morning. You're the only one who gets to decide what actually happens first, and almost nobody claims that ground on purpose. Think about the way a founder describes the morning before a launch, or the way a surgeon describes the morning before a difficult case. Neither one spends those first minutes scrolling for reassurance. Both, almost without exception, describe some version of the same private ritual, a moment of stillness, a breath, an acknowledgement that they are here and capable before the demands of the day arrive to tell them otherwise. They are not doing this because someone told them it was optimal. They're doing it because they learned, usually the hard way, that a day started on borrowed calm collapses faster than a day started on chosen calm. The waking prayer and the wake time discipline are simply the oldest and the newest versions of that same private ritual, available to anyone, requiring nothing but the decision to use them. So before you reach for anything else this morning, reach for one honest line of thanks instead. It does not need borrowed language, and it does not need to be religious to work. It needs only to be first, said, or simply felt in the seconds after the eyes open before the mind is handed anything else to hold. Thank the plain fact of waking up. Not the day ahead, not what it might contain. Just the return of consciousness itself, offered before it has proven anything to you. Then rise at the hour you chose, and rise there again tomorrow and the day after. The gratitude is the doorway. The consistency is what the doorway leads to. Neither one is dramatic. Both are quietly the whole discipline. You do not need a ritual with centuries behind it to borrow its logic. You need 30 seconds spent on thanks instead of on your phone before the day gets its first word in. So choose gratitude before you choose your phone. I say thank you for waking up before I check anything else, because that order is the entire discipline. I treat the first 30 seconds of my day as sacred ground nothing else gets to touch first. I wake at the same hour on purpose, because consistency at the threshold is what steadies everything after it. I stop treating the first minute of the morning as dead time before the real day begins. I claim the ground of what happens first instead of letting my phone claim it for me. That is the discipline hidden in one waking sentence. Not a longer ritual, just the decision to say thank you before you reach for anything else. If that gave you something to carry into tomorrow morning, stay with this channel, where every dawn is a chance to meet the day awake instead of behind it. And before you go, what is the first thing you actually reach for when you wake up? Write it below. I read each one. Begin disciplined. End reflective. Now rise.